So one of the terms that some of you have been having problems with is facet versus demifacet, right? But it's really just because it's a new word for you, or two new words. Facet is the British way of saying articulating surface. And usually in America we use articulating surface, but for some reason that I don't understand after decades of teaching this stuff, we use facet only when it comes to ribs. So where the ribs attach to the sternum and the vertebra, we use facet for articulating surface. Demi means half, like Hercules is a demigod, half man, half god. At least that's how she explained that to you in pregnancy. Anyways, long and short, so when you see demi, that refers to half. You can see that here on the vertebral column, but it's actually easier to see it on the rib cage. So here we see the first rib attaching to this first bone of the sternum, which is the manubrium. See how we have a 1-to-1 ratio there? So that surface where they're articulating, that articulating surface is a facet. The second rib is attaching to this bone and this bone. It's straddling the manubrium and the first sternobone. So each one is half an articulating surface. The term for that is demifacet. So most of these ribs, you'll notice they're attaching one rib straddling two bodies. So demifacet here, demifacet here, demifacet here, demifacet here. Now when you look at the ribs, which may be attaching the vertebra, which might take, there we go. I think that angle has it. Here we can see the head of the rib attaching to this vertebra and this vertebra. Half of the attachment on this vertebra, half the attachment on this vertebra. So each one is a demifacet. Now this vertebra rib arrangement here, this being the first one, let's see, angle that for you. I know it's a little hard to get exactly right with the glue and everything. But this first rib is attaching to the first thoracic vertebra 1-to-1. So that surface is a facet. In fact, the first thoracic vertebra is a bit of an overachiever because it's got R1 and R2 attaching to it. R1 by 1-to-1 ratio, facet. R2 on both the second and first thoracic vertebra, so you've got demifacets there. But really the easiest place to see it's right here on the sternum. Now when you look at a vertebra by itself, then it gets a little hard facet and demifacet, and that's why I like to use these big things like these dog bones or deer. In this case this is deer. But you can see the surface is much easier here than you can in your tiny little kitty cat. So you'll notice that they're kind of half moons and they're on the edge. Those are demifacets. If they're closer to the middle, which this one isn't, and they're full moons, that would be a facet. But here's a demifacet, here's a demifacet. Okay? So demi meaning half. When they're on the edge, that means that the rib is going to be straddling the two vertebrae. And so in that case, we have demifacets. All right? Does that help?